This podcast was edited and uploaded by Uncle Geeb Productions. Hey guys, and welcome everyone to the Drip G Podcast. I am your host, Uncle Geeb, and with me is host Drip Media Gaming. We record this podcast live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, or anywhere you can find a podcast. You can also watch our video podcast over on youtube.com/DripGeeb. Drip Media Gaming. It is freaking Zelda cast today, man. It is all about Zelda, whatever other language and accent you have for the lady herself and the video game franchise. It is all about Zelda. Drip, how excited you to talk about and dive deep into the Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, you know I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. I mean, I've already done it once. I'm ready to do it again. I have even more information now.
Oh my goodness.
Information.
Oh, I have information. I've learned a lot about the said Zoni and the other things that are, I don't even know. I can't even talk. I'm too excited to get into this, Drip.
I'm excited too.
Man, there's so much. So we just had our podcast last week last week, a couple days ago.
Yeah, Tuesday.
A bonus episode Tuesday.
Literally 2 days ago.
It is Thursday at 8 p.m. We can't confirm. We're here. So we talked about the Direct at length. We talked about just about every game, even if we didn't care about them. Like I said, we wouldn't do.
I mean, we mentioned them.
We mentioned them. But so this week is not about the Direct. But everyone has heard their opinions and their thoughts, and everyone else's opinion and thoughts about the Direct. But we will touch just a tiny bit about that Direct that just happened, Drip. Remember that? Do you remember all 2 days ago? I know it's been a whirlwind for you the last couple of days.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes, it has. There's been a lot going on. The Direct, the trailer, the stuff, yes. It seems like the last 2 days were a blur. I mean, my final thoughts, and we'll probably talk about this more another time, but like on this Direct in general, was it like crazy amazing? Some parts, but it was not terrible. People
it was not terrible. Oh, contrary to what the internet's telling you right now.
People cry, man. It's like, I get it. Not everybody loves farm simulators. That's fine. There were a lot. I mean, I get that. There were a lot, but there were Pikmin 4. I mean, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Zelda, Kirby. I mean, there was stuff. I know there was a lot of farm simulators. That was kind of weird. It was weird. But I mean,
very, very weird.
They're popular. I just don't understand why everyone's got to get so worked up over it, man. Like,
so that is about the extent of what we're going to touch the Direct tonight. But Drip, speaking of Zelda and the Direct, there is a connection, obviously, besides the confirmed news of Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry, I just did it. Tears of the Kingdom.
I can't stop. I can't stop.
As formerly known as Breath of the Wild
Zelda,
2.
It's Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom. Right?
4.
That's the name.
That's the full name.
That's the name.
There is a huge absence from Zelda in the Direct we just had. Drip, we didn't get our ports that everybody was on board for. At least it seemed like it. And everybody was super excited to get. And everybody, including, I'm not going to name them, leakers, had said that yes, we're going to get them. And then a day before they walked it right back and said no.
It was walked back. Yeah, it was.
Nope,
I was a little worried at that point. I was like, we're not getting these things.
And once we heard that news, I was like, yep, not happening. But I still hoped. And the Direct came, and the whole Direct happened, and we didn't get our reports of Twilight Princess and the Wind Waker. Drip Media Gaming. What do you say about that?
Well, I say this. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. I've already recorded the video about this. I don't think it's going to make it out this week because there's literally a video coming every single day till Saturday. I don't know if it's going to go Sunday. It may just go Monday. But, I mean, I said there's going to be a Zelda game in 2022. I mean, I may have to just admit here, I was wrong. I don't know. I wanted there to be a Zelda game. Nintendo told us that they wanted there to be Zelda games every year. We didn't get one this year.
We did not.
I talked about this in this video. I have a little bit of a thing. Okay, so it's like probably not going to happen. But if you look at what they've shown us in these trailers for Breath of the Wild, for Tears of the Kingdom, it's going to be a while. It's going to be really hard to break that habit.
Yeah, I feel
If you look at all the stuff they've shown us, they're really not giving us anything except for the only things we're seeing. I mean, obviously, we're all sitting here picking apart every frame, looking in the backgrounds. They're showing some of that stuff, but they're not highlighting any of that stuff. We see the stuff, the mountains in the air. We got that. But the only reason we got that is because they want to show what these new mechanics are. They want to show us the falling, this, the that, we saw it in the patents, the different falling and the bow and all the stuff. That is all they've shown. They've shown us the time, whatever, the reverse time thing with the spiked balls up the hill and riding the rock.
Well, that was trailer 2, right? And trailer 3, we had seen.
Yes.
So the trailer 2 was the spike ball.
Going up.
Yeah, spike ball in trailer 2. In trailer 3, we had, which was just yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was. We had it coming from the ground all the way to the sky, presumably.
Yeah, or wherever it came from, maybe. I don't know. It looks like it's reversed. So we don't really know. My point is, we've seen that. We've seen the arm. It means something with that, clearly. We've seen him go through a rock. It could just go through a rock. So these are all like little new mechanics, little things like that. This is the only thing that they're focusing on, though. Just this stuff. So, knowing that, and knowing that we don't know anything about this game, anything. We don't know anything about the story. We don't know anything about the characters. We don't know anything about anything. There's a whole lot that they still need to tell us about. So, and don't kill me. Everybody listen to this. Please, just don't. Please don't kill me.
Kill him.
It's possible. I say it's highly unlikely, but possible that in a week, 2 weeks, we get a Zelda-focused direct, and they show us everything there is to know about now listen to me, just these mechanics. They explain how this stuff works. They explain what we're going to be doing. Just give me a second. They explain just that. If you think about that, we still have a ton of stuff to lead up to May. A ton of stuff they can tease us with. They can tell us so many different things as long as they focus on that. And maybe, just maybe, I see that. Just maybe. In the chat.
I wish I could, man. Tech doesn't exist yet. Just maybe.
They announced these 2 Zelda ports at that direct to let us know that we're getting something. And they're coming in December, and we'll have them for Christmas. Listen, I understand that this is most likely 95% not going to happen. I'm saying it's not crazy to think that they might do something like that. Why not? I mean, this is going to be a big game. You're talking a 20 million plus seller in Breath of the Wild. This one's probably going to do same or better. Like, why not push the hell out of it and just really do a couple directs on different parts? It's not like it's not like it's a game that's just simple, like you pick up and play. Even compared to Breath of the Wild, this is going to have brand new things we've never seen that we don't understand. They're going to want to explain it, and they're going to want to get people hyped. I think that's a good way to do it. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen, but just say.
I think it's important to note here that the person in our chat who made me laugh a second ago, Power Matt, had asked me to slap you. And I also said, Drip, I think you're going through Bush with withdrawals. And I think it's really important to note here that Drip Media Gaming. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Power Mad. Power Mad is the person who keeps repeatedly saying in our Discord that it's highly possible that we could get a Tears of the Kingdom demo.
Yeah, we ain't getting no demo.
That is the least likely of things, in my opinion. But he is the one calling out Drip, saying, "I need to slap you about your opinion." That is just noteworthy to me, and I wanted to bring that up.
But I mean, listen, both things are probably out there.
Crazy meets crazy. One crazy, a little bit more crazy than the other.
Either way, all I'm saying, it would be. I mean, that would be cool, and I even if they did it, there'd be so much more to tell us about later. Like, they could do a whole nother direct like that later in like March or April before the game comes out.
Yeah, so I actually don't think you're crazy off base with that. I mean, it's not going to happen.
No, it's
not going to happen.
It's not.
It's not going to happen. But
I'm just saying, like,
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. It's not something that's like, what are
they
you talking about?
They do Treehouse all the time.
Stupid.
They do Treehouse all the time. Gameplay is showing off.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
I think it's more likely we see a Treehouse after, like, let's say, not 2 weeks from now. If it's going to happen, like a 5% chance, it's 0% chance it's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's a 5% chance it's going to happen maybe, let's say, a theoretical February 2023 direct.
Yeah, I mean,
just a few months, maybe a March direct.
Get more,
a March direct.
We'll definitely
February be
get
too soon.
More information on it then, and I guarantee we have a Zelda focused direct probably before it comes out. I mean, I would imagine they tend to do that with all their big games now. They just do a direct just for that game before it comes out.
That's the one of the Twitter drops I'd be down for. If they Twitter dropped a Zelda direct, you bet my ass I'd be there for that Twitter drop.
Well, I mean, that's something big. They would announce that a few days before, and
I guess that wouldn't be a direct, like the Twitter drop where they're like, oh, and we're gonna do a live stream at this time displaying Zelda games and features and upcoming Zelda ports or something like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't say that, but
Zelda
news. I'm just saying,
Zelda news. Yeah,
I've given up most hope. I'm gonna take the L on this one, but
it's shocking. Before we get off the direct, and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, it's just simply shocking that they don't put them on the Switch, port them, if you will, again. It's just shocking.
They gotta be coming.
There is no justification. Anybody, I don't care if it's the guy himself. I don't remember his name. I can't pronounce it if I could. The guy himself who works on Zelda. He's a very handsome looking man. Whatever his name is, I'd be shocked if he. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. That's how I just can't. I can't believe there's nothing anybody would say that make me believe that it's a bad idea not to put them out right this second. Shadow drop it today. It just nothing would tell me that's a bad idea. Nothing. It makes so much sense. Nobody wants to use. I'm pointing to my Wii U. Nobody wants to use their Wii U anymore. Nobody does. It's the prototype to the Switch, and we have the Switch. Why would you want to go back and play a prototype version of a game when you have the real product right in your hands?
I know.
And not to mention how slow the load-ups are. The downloads take forever on the Wii U. Nobody wants to touch their Wii U again.
No. And there's literally like 4 games left. Every game they've made on the Wii U, they've brought to the Switch. There's only 4 left. The 2 Zeldas, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think, and Star Fox Zero. I mean, there's a few more little ones. There's other little ones, but like the 4 bigger games, that's it. Like all those will probably still come to the Switch. It's just like right now, like you've got so much Zelda hype. Like, God, just do it. Just do it.
It's also doubly shocking that we just don't have anything for the franchise. I mean, how many times do we have to rehash of how big Zelda is, not only to its fan base, but just in general of how, especially Breath of the Wild, when that game came out, how much of an impact it had on the game industry, especially Zelda and Nintendo fans. It's just shocking that they just miss a whole we're gonna miss a year. And if you recall, Geeb's my statement that if we were not to receive a Zelda game in 2022, that means that Nintendo is getting tired of the franchise. Where is our special edition OLED?
Listen, you realize that is like the craziest thing that makes no sense ever, right?
Until I'm right in 3 years. Until I'm right.
Dude,
they're gonna release the next Zelda.
No, you're thinking about this in a way. You're thinking about this from a fan's perspective. You're thinking about this from a fan's perspective, like, oh, we're sick of playing. We're sick of Zelda. We're sick of Zelda. I can tell you what they're not sick of. They're not sick of
the money.
Are they sick of money?
Are they not sick of money? Drip Media, where is our Wind Waker and Twilight Princess?
Zelda Breath of the Wild is the best-selling Zelda game by 3 times whatever Twilight Princess did.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit if they're going to make money. There's a reason these things aren't out. They have a plan to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I don't like their plan.
I hope everyone understands, including you, Drew. I hope everyone understands that I'm being as tongue-in-cheek as possible. My tongue is practically poking through my cheek when I say things like that. I do it for the lulz, okay? But my point is valid. I do mean. The point being, Right, you're saying all the right things, man. It makes them a ton of money. The fan base is still very much in love with the game.
More than ever.
More than ever.
More than ever.
More than ever. And yet, you say they love money, which we know they do. It's Nintendo Premium for every game that comes out, including the ports. It just boggles my mind that I'm not a developer, and maybe I need to be to understand this better. But why can't they snap their Thanos thumbs and fingers together and just give us the ports in a couple months?
They
just
can. Porting these games from the Wii U to the Switch is, I mean, from what I understand, it is a very, very easy process.
Yeah.
It's just they have a plan. We don't agree with their plan.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I wish they'd put them out too, but
but the point I'm trying to make here is, if all these things are true that we keep saying about them, they love money, Zelda's still valid, whatnot, it just doesn't make it makes zero sense. I don't care who tells me. I don't care what the plan is. It's a bad plan. They've made it still may make them a lot of money, but their fan base is going to, actually, I've just kind of discovered something in my brain. What if this is all intentional and they're creating supply and demand? Like the lack of supply, lack of supply. We're delaying the game that everybody wants. We're to keep delaying it some more. They delayed to May. And also there's no supply of the games. You can still buy the ones that already exist, but we've all played them already. We've all done it. We've played at least the ones we wanted to play, and the ones that we don't want to play, we're not purchasing. What if this is all calculated to get us to foam at the mouth?
I mean, it's already happening. Everybody wants these two games. Everybody wants these two games.
Like, all jokes aside, that must be the answer. They're just making us foam at the mouth intentionally.
Yeah, I don't like it. I
don't like it either, man. I don't like it either.
No, I will not just play them on the old system.
Nobody wants to touch their grimy Wii U Switch corner. Nobody wants to touch it.
I'm done with it, man. I was so excited that maybe be able to put that thing in the garage in a box and wrap it up and let it sit there for 10 years and then find it.
I have it on my set. You can't see it. You can see it during my YouTube videos and streams, but you can't see it at the podcast. But I have it on my set just to look. You can see it. The ugly console it is. The fat Wii. Drip. We're gonna move on. The podcast is we've talked about that probably too much at this point. We want to. So I just kind of have it. I'm gonna read what I wrote. Lay out the 3 trailers of Tears of the Kingdom. That's the name.
Yeah.
I really got to think about that. How do you want to approach this? How do we want to lay this out? Do we want to do it in a very analytical, cut-up way, or are we going to just kind of ad-lib throughout it? Because I have a general ad-libby sense about all 3 trailers. I know what happened in each.
Go for it.
So the first trailer,
fill in the gaps.
Perfect. First trailer, absolutely no gameplay. It was all cinematic trailers. Now, it was definitely, obviously, run through the Switch engine. It wasn't like, it wasn't like 4K 60 FPS graphics or anything like that. It wasn't like that kind of cinematic. It wasn't like cartoony, drawn, or computer-generated graphics. These were clearly running in the Switch engine, but definitely a cinematic trailer using the Breath of the Wild engine and showed you story, where we saw the green goop for the first time. Not goop. Well, I'll call it Ganon poop. The green Ganon poop, which at the time that's what we thought it was. We calling it that.
Yes.
The green Ganon poop. And the castle, that's where we saw the castle for the first time lift off into the air. We saw Zelda and Link together, alive together, not in Spirit Land, together walking underneath ground with holding a torch.
Zelda
had short hair. Just trying to think of all the notable things here. That was the first trailer. It was just like literally like a chicken nugget after I eat my Big Mac. Like that's literally all that was.
This is something I want to go back to too as we go there. Something we saw, one of the very first scenes we saw in that trailer, which I'm looking at right now.
Trailer number 1, 2019.
Right. Were depictions of things on a stone wall.
Yes.
We got a whole lot of that in this new trailer.
Yes. Language that none of us understand.
They're not the same, though. They're very different.
Yeah. I think it was just the idea. They wanted you to get the idea.
Yeah.
I think what that points out, though, Drip, I think that actually you make a good point there unintentionally. The information that we don't necessarily understand is very important. I think that going through all 3 trailers, information that we don't understand is very, very. Now that sounds kind of dumb to say out loud. What I mean by that, guys, is like
context.
Out of context. Like they want you to understand that you don't know what this is, but we do. Yeah, we know what this is. This is literal gibberish we're throwing on a screen right now, but we, Nintendo, know what this is. You don't. You're not going to find it until you play the game, regardless of how many trailers we put out.
That's what's wild, man. We've got 3 trailers for this thing, and we don't know shit.
We don't know anything. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We know that. So the first trailer, right? We kind of went over that just now. The second trailer that comes out.
There's more. We didn't really talk about the body of Ganondorf.
Ganondorf. I'm sorry, I missed all Ganondorf.
The body of Ganondorf being held down by a hand. Big spiral thing going
Green
up.
Ganon poop.
And we're assuming this is underneath the castle because we're assuming that's where this is at. Something happens with that arm. I'm guessing whatever that is on Link's body now. I guess.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
I mean, but it looks exactly like
we're putting our minds back in 2019, Drip. All we know from 2019, looking at that trailer alone.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't know yet from the 2021 trailer yet, but 2020 or 2019, we see that arm holding down Ganondorf as he presumably Ganondorf, but probably Ganondorf. In the air, kind of like having his arms spread out as he gets lifted up into the air.
Being held down, yeah.
Being held down, but he also gets
trying
lifted.
To come out of his chest. The hand is trying to hold it in.
Yeah. Did I miss anything else before the castle jumps in the air?
That's basically it.
Yeah, and then the castle
shake.
Things shake. Castle goes up in the air.
Yeah. Ganon turns to the side and his eyes light up.
Yeah, his eyes light up.
Orange with like fire. That's kind of scary.
So he's alive for whatever that means. He is alive, and we get nothing. That's all we got. We all fell in love with that. We all got that information. We all loved it. And by the way, can you give 15 likes in this stream? I'd appreciate that. Thanks, guys. We got all that. Okay, we got all that. 2021 comes around 2 years later.
Yes.
They announced Skyward Sword right before that, right? I believe. I think.
I'm not sure.
Because what I want to talk about later, that's important. Skyward Sword Connection is important to me. So,
oh god, yeah, Skyward Sword Connection
right around.
Massive.
A lot of people talk about a lot of games, Zelda games that connects with this, like Twilight Princess, but Skyward Sword is important later on. I think.
I think it's going to be
2020
going to be insanely important.
Yeah, regardless of when they announced Skyward Sword in 2021, Skyward Sword was announced for the HD was announced for the Switch. That's important because then we got a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, still called Breath of the Wild 2,
the sequel to the Legend of Zelda,
the sequel,
Breath of the Wild.
I don't remember exactly how it starts, but I believe it's that beautiful music and Link falling from the sky.
That's not exactly how it starts. I got it.
Okay. How's it? Go ahead, Drip. Go ahead.
So it starts out, we see like the malice stuff coming up, and it actually takes over. That stuff takes over Link's arm in this trailer. We see more malice. Zelda falls down a hole, which we don't know, and then the light comes up, and we see Link falling through the sky for the first time, and and then we see the island. You can start to see some of the stuff we saw in this trailer. If you go back here, actually, if you go back to this one, now that I'm watching it. Huh.
Okay.
Sorry.
No thinking, just react, Drip. That's what we're doing.
Whatever, he's falling. That's when we saw there's stuff in the sky. We see Link's new look. We did get that weird rock dragon looking thing. That was new. Yep. So that's got something to do, I believe, with the glider that we saw. They look very similar.
Don't get ahead of yourself. We're doing this in a particular order.
Okay, I'm just saying. Those things look like they go together.
Okay. We're going to talk about that, the connections of all three, after we get through all three.
We did get a little taste of some new enemies. The
bokoblins. Did you mention the bokoblins?
They got
bigger
horns on them now.
So that presumably means
they're making their homes on the backs of what are the rock things called? I can't remember.
Stone taluses.
Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, that's awesome. Then we see the arm. Then we get our first view. So at that point, that's when we saw the first time he uses the thing, whatever this new ability is, where he stops time and reverses time, and everybody's calling it that. But what if we're completely misinterpreting that, and that's not what? It's something completely
not time
different.
Travel. Very, very possible. The Zelda community tends to overanalyze and underachieve on their results.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, there's a lot of time travel in Zelda, but it doesn't have to be. It probably is. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Time manipulation. I think a more accurate definition would be time manipulation, not time travel. Because not only, even if he is traveling per se to the past and the future in this game, it's still more of manipulation, I think, than time travel. We're not getting the one Link going back in time and forward in time. Spoilers to my thoughts and opinions later on. I think this is manipulation of time and space, not the travel through time and space.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yes, I agree. I did just notice something else as I'm watching this here, something we need to probably bring up because we're going to be talking about it a lot. There was a shot in that other trailer we got in 2021 when Link is fighting something in a cave, and he's got a big dragon's head on his hand.
Yes, that's a weapon that we saw.
Fire. That's a weapon. Dragons. I mean, all the dragon stuff. That's Zoni stuff. Like all the
This is when the Zoni
we see. Oh yeah, it's all.
This is when a Zoni hints start to kind of come in. People start to theorize.
Yeah,
the Zoni has something to do with
in the first trailer. I also saw this too just now. Didn't even realize it. All the spirals and stuff.
Yes.
That's on all their architecture. The first scene you see in that first trailer was Zelda and Link riding that bull or whatever that thing is. The whole wall, the spiral thing, the entire wall. Did not notice that till this time, but there's that. So I mean, that we've seen. This is clearly a Zoni weapon, and that is one thing I did want to bring up with this too, because these last few shots are big. We see. I don't know if you remember this, but right before Link goes up through the bottom of that rock, there's a puddle of water that implodes into itself and becomes what looks like
a drop
or a tear. So,
which is the same mechanic that we were introduced in that 2021 trailer, where you can climb through objects, solid objects.
That's what I'm watching right now.
What we are now presuming as a tear.
That's I don't know. And then
but
we see a lot of this other stuff. The castle the castle lifts off the ground. The Malice starts shooting from the underground. That's basically it. We
the
get
Malice
a shot
is lifting. Ganon Malice is lifting the castle.
Right, and I have noticed this too because we got it in this trailer. They did block Death Mountain in the wide shot that we got of the castle and stuff. They actually blocked Death Mountain in the old one, so you can't see the Malice coming out of Death Mountain because that is a very, very interesting thing there.
Oh, Death Mountain's a dungeon.
100%. Underneath there, like
I went ahead. I'm sorry. I did the thing I said not to do.
Maybe you start in one place, but you end. I don't. Oh yeah. The underground stuff's all connected. It's gonna be wild in there.
Yeah. Oh, we got more theories. Let's go. Is that all 2021?
That's basically it. Yeah.
Okay. So, moving on to the trailer from 2022. Okay, just a couple days ago. Now let's start from the end. Let's start with the end. We got a name. The name of the game is Tears of the Kingdom. Now, there was some controversy whether that was tears or tears because English is fucking stupid.
Yeah, but it's 100%
confirmed.
Tears.
I misconstrued information when I talked about this earlier. I just want to correct myself from a past self. I had said that other languages had translated that directly to tears. That is not the case. Other languages confirmed that it is dealt with water. Therefore, because every other translation has something to do with water.
Right.
Not tears, but water. So that's how we know the word is tears not tears. I just want to correct myself from the past. But so yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom. That would be cool too.
That's also not terrible.
Yeah. Tears of the Kingdom was announced. We had about a 1 minute and 30-second trailer, which equated to about, I don't know, a minute and 10 seconds of actual gameplay. Not even gameplay. Just 1 minute and 10 seconds of Zelda, and then about 15 to 20 seconds of just kind of fluff beginning and
yeah, it's just Link climbing around.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it is gameplay. Yeah. It's just not.
Yes,
anything. It's not meaningful gameplay.
Drip. So let's start from the very beginning now. Once again, your trailer opens up, and we're getting a lot of text that we don't really know. But as we look at this text, we can kind of conclude, not me because I'm not that smart, but maybe you smart people have kind of concluded that is maybe Zoni text. No?
Okay. I know this.
Let's break it down, man. You got your
language,
video.
Whatever it is, the language, thanks to our wonderful Discord, that is a new Zelda language. That is something we have not seen. So that is new. I really for that break, I really wanted to try to figure out what that stuff said, but you can't because it's not available for you to know yet.
Yeah.
That doesn't even matter though. The text, whatever that says, we'll probably figure that out later once we get this new alphabet or whatever the hell it's going to be. It's that that creature. That creature we see on the wall.
Oh,
Like
yes. The ultimate controversy, the creature that we see. I want to hear some of your thoughts, Trip, because you didn't really get to hear too many of my thoughts because you left by the time the Discord was having another conversation. I have my own thoughts about that. But so there's a creature next to all this text, everyone, audio and video. There is a creature on the wall. And this creature, I don't know, you could call it a couple different kinds of people. But Trip, what are you theorizing?
I don't know. It reminds
I feel pretty
me
strongly.
of
I feel pretty strongly about my guess. It's just
it reminds me of the people. I mean, obviously, it's not what it is, but it reminds me of the very tall blue people in Avatar.
It's not colored. It is just on a rock carving.
Right.
But I see what you mean.
But it's not that. I'm guessing just from like the first 3 scenes that we see. I'm guessing this is. Just looking at the rest of what we got, the logo has freaking dragons in it, and they're the Zoni car. They're literally the same thing that's in the Zoni ruins in Hyrule. Like, I would guess that this is some type of Zoni god. That's my guess.
That's a really interesting theory.
That's probably something around there. This is somebody I guarantee we end up meeting, talking to early in the game, and probably comes back a few times I'm guessing. I don't know that, but you know what I mean? It seems like a very Zelda-like thing to do, to like bring somebody in like that, like a spirit or something like that. The 7 symbols around though.
7 symbols.
Yeah. Okay,
and the symbols appear to look like what teardrops. What are you going to say?
Go ahead. I want to hear what you think this thing is.
So this thing, with this beast that looks like an avatar from 2009, new movie's coming out. This beast, I theorize. I kind of thought of immediately. Honestly, I thought of this immediately because we saw the beast. Did we see the 7 tiers around the beast first?
Not first. That was like
not first.
Third.
So we just saw the beast. We did eventually see it with 7 tiers around it, which is interesting. But the thing that I thought was interesting, and why I think you're wrong about your theory, is that what appears to be Zelda. And I agree with you 100%. That was Zelda carving.
I think it's Zelda.
Was locking arms with this creature.
Yeah.
So very, very picturesque, locking arms with this creature. I'm convinced that this is the goddess of Hylia, or at least whoever is whoever is inside of Zelda.
The animal is
the animal.
No,
I believe that is mortal Zelda and the goddess that we've never seen before together. That animal represents this goddess, and that's her mortal Zelda. I know Zelda is the goddess. I understand this, but there is she is mortal's goddess. The actual goddess of the world, she's God, the goddess. That is the goddess, represented by a beast, and she's huge and she's very puffy and big. Makes a lot of sense if it would be a god, and I don't think it'd be Zoni. And here's why it's not the Zoni, because. From my understanding, by the way, Nintendo Life, thank you guys so much. Your video today was very helpful for a noob like me. I link you guys' video down below in the description. A lot of my knowledge in the Zoni and stuff like that came from your video. The Zoni are barbaric humans.
That's the way it's written.
That's the way it's written.
Nobody knows, though.
Why
They've been
would...
gone over what? We know at least all this stuff with the first war or whatever was 10,000 years ago, and they were gone long before that. So, I mean, do we really know?
We don't really know. We all have our theories. My theory is that's the goddess, and it wouldn't be the Zoni because I'm believing that they're barbaric. And why would the barbaric god lock arms with this? Unless they were this is the story of the Zoni and how they got extinct. This whole game is the story of the Zoni and why they're extinct. Maybe they were friends at one point, locking arms. The goddess Hylia, the goddess, the non-mortal. That's not Zelda mortal. That is the non-mortal Zelda, and the goddess of the Zoni linking arms. And eventually they clash and they kill each other, and they're gone. But the Hylians proceed. The Sheikah and the Hylians proceed. The Zoni is no more. But the ruins are left.
I think this is more of. I don't know. It's very, very hard
I don't know either, man. I'm just guessing. We're just throwing some crap at a wall. seeing what's
I
sticking.
honestly don't know.
We're not even remotely done with this third trailer here.
Yeah,
so there's more to the third.
Yeah, we can move. I mean, we don't need to talk about the scene of them, whatever it is, where they're clearly a war of some sort. I don't know whether it's in the future, like a prophecy thing. I kind of feel like that because the bad guys look like the bad guys now. Like, unless they're just like, oh no, they always had big horns like this. Like, no, they didn't. I know they didn't. I was there.
Yeah.
I saw it. But for this to be in the past, I'm like, okay, well, maybe they should have looked like they did. I don't know. I don't know when this game actually takes place, but I'm guessing, like they looked different last week. And now here we are again. It's like, nope, big horns. Here we go. I'm guessing this is in the future, prophecy type thing. Maybe not. I could be totally wrong about that. It does kind of look like the war from whatever, the 10,000 years ago or whatever. Could be something like that. I don't know. I really don't know.
Here's what we do know, as what we actually did see from this trailer, going beyond the beginning portion we just spent a lot of time on. Then we see some actual gameplay coming from this trailer, and the doors open wide open.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I want to talk about one thing before we jump to the doors.
All right.
The 7 symbols, the 7 swirly symbols.
Okay.
7 things like that in Zelda game, like that 7 sages, like that's a thing. Ocarina of Time and the 7 sages, like that was the last parts of when you were an adult, like that's what you went in each dungeon and got. What you saved one of the sages.
You got 7 sages in the Link Between Worlds as well.
I mean, I don't feel like that's a coincidence that there's 7 of these things.
Not at all. That's why they didn't share the word tears with us, and that's why they didn't share any of that footage.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
you're right on. In my opinion, you're right on with that. I mean, clearly,
I don't see how it's not.
Now, what does the 7 mean? Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh God, here we go.
So you open up the doors. Link opens up the doors, and let's stop right there. My turn to criticize every little, not criticize, theorize every little thing. That just reminded me of the Temple of Time, like hardcore from Skyward Sword.
I was going to say Skyward Sword.
Hardcore Skyward Sword, Temple of Time. I talked with you left the Discord chat to take a nap because you were working so damn hard. I continued to talk with Mindstormer and Power Madden and maybe someone else as well. I can't remember exactly. And we were theorizing. I theorized, hey guys, maybe this is like heavy Skyward Sword links here. Like, no pun intended.
I mean, you got floating mountains. Yeah, I mean, Temple of Time is. That's an interesting,
because there are 2 Temple of Times to my knowledge. Not the Breath of the Wild Temple of Time is not the same Temple of Time that we see in Skyward Sword. That's pretty obvious if you played Skyward Sword. That building looks absolutely nothing like the one in Breath of the Wild. So there are 2 Temple of Times. This is the other Temple of Time. The Breath of the Wild Temple of Time is on the ground in that trailer, but this one's in the air, and I don't know, man. That's heavy Skyward Sword vibes to me. And no shit, he jumps from the sky and skydives out of the sky.
And just the look of the way that he falls, it's just so. And it's okay. I want to say this. I said this in the video, but
wings out, man.
They never you could see him falling in the first trailer, but like I thought that was just like, oh, they're just showing it from that angle so you can see what's below him. But no, like this, whatever this is way higher.
Yep.
Than the other floating islands and stuff that we see.
Yep, you're
Which
right.
makes me wonder if they're like the same. Like, are some of these different than the others? Like, is it pulling some of them up? Is this kind of like a bring the land up type of thing, like it was in Skyward Sword? That's how the land got up there in the first place, right?
Yeah, the land rose from the ground.
Yeah, like is that what's happening again? Is that like I don't know.
I don't believe so. I believe so. At this point in the trailer, we are Link is skydiving, and we're seeing some gameplay stuff. We'll get to the actual gameplay mechanics in a second. Nothing we haven't seen before, really, besides the freaking glider. But if you look at one of your screenshots that you can see on the internet, maybe I forget if you talk about this or not. You got to look at the ground really hard, and if you notice, and this is total credit to Mindstormer, noticed that the entire Koriki Forest. The whole thing, the whatever what is the forest called? There's a real name to it. The tree.
Yeah. What about it? What part?
It's gone. It's smushed. There is a rock underneath the whole thing. Go back and look if you want, guys. Drip just gotta trust me for now.
Yeah.
Mindstormer figured out that there's a big rock on the ground. There's a big rock on the ground, and that rock is covering the exact location of the Kokiri Forest, the Lost Woods. Thank you, Power Mad. The Lost Woods.
The Lost Woods.
It's
the area
been
with
smashed.
the Master Sword.
It's been smashed. Now you can take that two ways. One way you can take that is land has fallen and hit the ground. The land from above has eaten what is there, or you can take it as this is the past, and there's just rock there in the past. It's not a forest yet. Not necessarily future or past, but the fact of the matter is,
I was kind of
if he's right about that, that's the Kokiri Forest, and that's not the only location. There's lots of locations where there is just giant rock landmasses. So why are those giant rock landmasses covering parts of the map where in Breath of the Wild were not previously covered by giant rock landmasses?
Some of the rocks were there. Some of them weren't. I don't know. Nope. I mean, it's wild because I was kind of on the whole time travel thing early in this.
When we got the first trailer. I was mistaken a little bit. The trees were uncovered, but the Lost Woods was not covered. Just the Kokiri Forest. And the Tree of Life, or whatever his name is.
Okay.
The big guy. What's his name?
The Tree of Life.
Is it really?
Yes.
I don't know.
It is now. I love it.
It is now.
Okay. Okay. The time travel thing. I don't know. I was on that bus for a minute. I don't know if we're going to be doing a lot of time traveling in this. Maybe. I don't know.
Manipulation. There's a lot of manipulation.
But think about it. Like it's not like it's a weird thing for Zelda games to do. Like there's lots of time travel in Zelda games.
Every game.
Not every game, but there's a lot. I mean,
every game has manipulation in some way, I feel like.
I mean,
any one game that doesn't manipulate time.
It's right next.
You got to really
to the
think
forest.
about it, huh?
Right next to the forest. I'm looking at the Discord. Okay. There's one thing I do want to jump back to, which I think is something that is very, very interesting. I think this is probably going to be one of the bigger things as far as the mechanics go and how they work. Mm-hmm. Whatever he has on his belt, these little, I think we ended up calling them batteries. They look like batteries. They have
some sort of power source.
It looks like a power source of some sort. Yes, I'm very curious about those.
I'm on board with that
because he doesn't have the Sheikah Slate anymore, which
we not shocking.
Basically knew that wasn't gonna. They're not gonna do that again. That's a gimmick that they did it. It worked. It was great. Move on. Gonna do something else. But these have the same glow. You know what I mean? This is
there's that greenish color.
Sheikah Tech glow. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm really wondering what this is and if it has something to do with that arm. Because the arm has the same.
We forgot to talk about his arm in the second trailer. The second trailer, they introduced the fact that his arm is being eaten by this Ganon poop or
whatever.
Zoni Tech or Sheikah Tech.
It turns blue.
So Link's
up.
arm is like dark and is all messed up and disheveled.
Yeah, I mean, those are something. Because he has a holster for him, and there's only 2 in there, but you can see there's like 2 underneath, but they're like empty. It's a holster for 4, but he's only got 2 in there. So you're using those for something, clearly. I don't know what.
Yeah, because you notice the tops of the capsules, the top and the bottom, they're like goldish color, I believe. Yeah. They're still there. They're not, the green part's gone.
Yeah.
The power source, if you will. But the tops and bottoms are still there, so it needs to be refilled. Presumably.
Yeah. It seems like you get them somewhere, refill them, buy them. You're not going to buy them. Nobody's got.
You're not
going
to buy them.
Nobody's got that shit.
You're gonna pray. You're gonna pray.
You're not
pray the
Ganon
in a way.
No.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I don't have a lot because I just don't know. That's the thing. Like we can break this down all day. They have given us 3 trailers and we literally don't know anything. Every single time we get a trailer, we just get more questions. It's just question after question after question.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, I like it too. It's fun, but I mean, that's why I really like to see them just give us some actual. Now that we have a name and a date, give us some actual information. Tell us what's happening here.
No, we need the game, sir. That's where you learn that information from playing their game, which they're never going to give to you for free.
I mean, yeah, they are. They're going to tell us what's happening. We're going to get story elements. We're going to get gameplay. Yes, we are. We are.
I'm not saying this as if I know more than you. I'm saying because I think we're not. They're just going to release the game.
No. They're going to tell us how all
Look at
this.
some
They're going to tell us
mechanics.
how all this works.
Oh,
They're
what
going
works?
to do how all of the new mechanics. They're going to say what it is. They're going to give us. They're going to tell us about the world. We're going to get a brief idea of what's happening.
We can agree that we're getting another trailer at some point, at the very least. We can agree on that.
Oh God, yeah, we'll get.
There's 8 more months till this game comes out.
Yeah,
we'll get another trailer.
May. We're gonna get
1.
Hell, 3 more.
1. I think 1.
We'll get way more than another trailer. I'll bet you on that. I'll put money down on that.
Let's wrap up the ending of the trailer 3 that we saw, and let's wrap it up. How does it end? It just kind of ends on him on the glider. We see some gameplay mechanics. We see the rock coming from the bottom of the screen, going up to the top of the screen, and that was the same kind of technology or the same kind of mechanic as in the second trailer, where the boulder goes up the hill. Presumably the technology. They're showing you that look, you can use the same thing in other ways. It's not just one way. You can
then there's the giant dragon head and whatever this green color on the rock, painted on the rock or glowing on the rock or whatever it is down there. And then there's another one of those little spirally things that was like holding Ganon down. You can see that right before the 2 dragons come in. If you look down the very bottom, there's it looks like a little, I don't know what to call it. It's not like a tower. It doesn't look that tall, but it's got that spiral green stuff coming out of it. Yeah. So someone said in my comments it might be a warp point since we don't have the towers anymore. That's a good idea. It may be a warp point so you can get from place to place. That would make sense.
So who says we don't have the towers anymore, and who says we don't have the?
They're not in any of the trailers.
So
we've seen a lot of places where they used to be, and they're clearly not there.
Okay, well that I would believe that. I mean, if I saw it myself,
they're not there. We do not have the towers. They're gone.
And then the trailer. We'll wrap it up. The trailer ends with the name, which we already talked about, and the date, which we already talked about, May.
Yeah, well, there's more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something huge in the
name
the
reveal?
Logo. Yeah.
Yes, the logo of this.
The Master Sword itself.
Yes,
big
news.
broken Master Sword that we saw in that little bit. We didn't even go over that. The little bit of footage they gave us when they told us it was going to be delayed, or when it was going to be.
I kind of forgot about that. I totally forgot about that.
But we saw the Master Sword broken there. The Master Sword is broken in this logo, and it has, again, some type of weird green, Sheikah green design taking over the rest of, finishing the rest of the sword. So my question is, are we gonna have a broken Master Sword that's finished with like Sheikah tech or something like would that be maybe it's Zoni?
Sir,
magic.
Why do we assume that it's Sheikah? Why do we assume it's Sheikah? And why couldn't it be Zoni?
It could be. We don't know because we don't know anything about them. We know they're magical. We know they're magical. We know
an important difference between trailer 1 and trailer 2 is the color of the poop, right? The color of the streaks. What do you mean? In the first trailer, Ganondorf is being held down by a green hand, and there's green stuff around him. But in the trailer 2, the whole castle is being lifted up by red malice.
Well, yeah, it's because they're 2 different things.
Right.
Clearly,
so some theories that I have here is going off of what I believe with the very beginning with the goddess and the goddess of Hylia and the goddess of what I believe is the Zoni. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I'm losing. There's so much, man. We're 50 minutes in, and there's just so much. Trying not to forget anything.
There's a lot.
What if the Zoni and Ganon are kind of like together in the afterlife? Like, because Ganon's not alive.
Like they're bad guys.
They're bad guys. Like the Zoni are the barbarians who got taken out by the living, and the Ganon is teaming up with the green Zoni. That's their tech. That's their hand. That's why Link's hand is disheveled, because it's being covered by the green stuff. That's why the Master Sword is being taken out. The Zoni are bad guys. They're dead. Why would they not be bad guys? Who took him out? Presumably the Hylians.
I didn't think about that. That's actually not bad. That's an interesting take on it.
I'm smart.
I don't know. I don't know if that'll actually happen.
I don't think I'm right, guys. I think Nintendo's got. I think we're all wrong, and Nintendo knows exactly what's going on. They're laughing at us personally, but I like my theory the best. I think it's my theory.
That's not terrible. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. That's very interesting to think about. But I do think we're going to see a Master Sword in this game like we've never seen. It's going to be reforged for at least some time with something else. They wouldn't show us that if
I have
it wasn't
another thing.
happening.
So going off your Master Sword there, I think the Master Sword is permanently that way, unless it can be fixed by somebody in a later game. I think this is I think the Zelda timeline. This is a great transition. And we're still talking about the other stuff, but this is a great transition for our third and final kind of talking point here, is that the Tears of the Kingdom is going to change the Zelda formula forever, just like Breath of the Wild did. The same way Breath of the Wild changed Zelda formula, this is going to change the formula in multiple. Tears of the Kingdom is changing it in multiple different ways, and here's one of the ways. The storyline, we're going to have the same Link and the same Zelda going forward. We're not doing this whole thing where like our styles are crazy changing. We're not doing this whole thing where there's different Zeldas and different Links and different timelines. That is the past of Zelda. The future of Zelda is the same Link in some form and the same Zelda in some form and the same storyline continuing until it is no longer a storyline and it is over. They can decide when it ends and a new Zelda game with new characters come up, but the Zelda franchise is, in my opinion, is changing forever in multiple ways. And the biggest way is the storyline is good. It's the same one. We're going to get the same storyline. The Master Sword is going to be like this the whole game, and maybe in a game from now, 2 games from now, we can find some guy in a hut who can forge it back to normal. But
I am off the wagon there.
Because you're a traditional Zelda fan, I want to hear the opinions of not only traditional Zelda fans, but also those of us who've played Breath of the Wild first and understand that there's no way we can go back completely to the old formula of Zelda. We can bring back things like dungeons, but we can't go back to the old formula where we change the art style every 2 years and the storyline changes 100%. Every time.
They can and they will. Guarantee it.
They can't and they won't.
You're just... I can tell you right now, they totally can. They always have. They always will, because this is not the type of story that you're talking about. This isn't I don't know. This isn't like a couple of people like, oh, we just live this life. No, this is a thing that is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years apart. These games are part of a curse that is forever.
I understand. You've explained that to me.
And it's never going to end. And we may stick with them for a couple games, but I guarantee the next time, who knows? Maybe we will get a Breath of the Wild 3. We might. Honestly, I would imagine that after this, it's completely different after this.
Do you hear yourself? I understand. You're saying things as an old Zelda fan, which I completely respect, right? I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here. You could be very well right, and I'm not trying to shit on you.
You're saying things as a new Zelda fan who doesn't know the history of the game.
This is the classic get off my lawn. No, it's my world. Let me free the nipple. This is the classic old person versus new person debate, and why I'm right and why you're right. We're all right. We're all wrong. Let's be honest. But listen, what in Nintendo's mind, especially during this life of the Switch means the Switch is Breath of the Wild as much as Breath of the Wild is the Switch. And when I say Breath of the Wild, I mean the future of Zelda. I think that's pretty clear, is that we kept saying Breath of the Wild 2, Breath of the Wild, the future of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. What we mean is the future of Zelda, because Breath of the Wild is the introduction to the future of Zelda, because that was a dying franchise. At least... okay, that's extreme. That's extreme. I'm sorry.
Extreme.
I'm sorry.
Dying.
It was not dying. It was a
great
franchise on the downward swing, even as slight as it was. Breath of the Wild revived it.
Well, it just brought more people in. And a lot of that is the fact that the Switch was
correct, for sure,
just sold crazy.
A lot
of it's that.
But do you expect Wind Waker style graphics or something as drastic as that for the Breath of the Wild 3 or Tears of the Kingdom 2 or whatever they're gonna, you know what I mean? It's this engine and these characters and this style. We're just gonna improve of them over time, and we're not changing the graphic style of Tears of the Kingdom for a long time.
I think you're wrong.
It's not happening. Zelda is changed.
I would probably tell you that after this one, if they do a third one with these I would be surprised if they did a third one with the same exact Link and Zelda. I would be very surprised. I would be insanely surprised.
Well, Breath of the Wild was a surprising game, now wasn't it? Tears of the Kingdom is basically Breath of the Wild too. It's the sequel.
Yeah, I mean they kind of did that with. Help me out here. Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. I mean, they used the same. That's why it was able to be developed so fast. They used a lot of the same assets. They used the same engine.
It was a different time and a different reason.
Also, it was
different time, different reason. That's why. But it's same result.
Same art style.
Yep.
We're good. If we leave this Link in Zelda, I can promise you it won't be the same art style. It will not be this. It will look different. It will look way different.
Right. So another way the Zelda franchise has changed forever, again, in my opinion, I think Drippy can agree with this, is I think we kind of already came to the conclusion. Dungeons are not only guaranteed, but like we now should assume dungeons are coming based off the 7 tiers. And this factoid, right?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that because that's scary.
And this factoid, listen to this factoid. There were shrines in the old games, correct? There was 120 shrines, right? In Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
This is the same map as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Where do the shrines go?
I mean, I don't know.
They have to be on the land. Unless they're eaten up or destroyed, at the very least, they're underground. They're still there. And if you're playing the game underground, this is my thought. All the shrines,
the towers aren't there. The shrines aren't there either. Everything is clearly going back underground.
But it's underground, right? Exactly. The shrines are still underground. That means that maybe some of the shrines. So if you know some of the shrines, there's walls in all of them. Does that mean that there's just solid rock on the other side, or does it mean that there's more shrine? That's a direction Nintendo can take this and say, hey, guys, you're underground because there's dungeons. And all 120 shrines, you combine that into 7 dungeons that you collect your tiers.
They will not revisit those.
But it's not the same. It's not traditional Zelda dungeon. I bet you it's going to be a very Breath of the Wild style dungeon. The way that Breath of the Wild treated dungeons, aka shrines.
No,
they're going to treat these dungeons where you can travel in and out. You lose your progress, but like, dude, that's my theory. Again, it's probably wrong. It's fun to talk about though. What if there's dungeons, like definitely dungeons, and the shrines they're just they're underground, but they're maybe different than they are now, or we're in Breath of the Wild. But what if there's dungeons? That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, I think there's. I think there's probably dungeons. I really want there to be dungeons. I don't want to say it because when there's not, I'm gonna be like, oh,
what are we gonna do? What's the point of the game if not dungeons?
Yeah, I know. There's got to be somewhere to go. Yes, I mean we're going to be doing something clearly, but I don't think you're kind of pigeonholing these dungeons into just being underground. Like I expect. You're right.
I bet you there's a sky one too.
I expect things everywhere. I expect in the mountain. Something at Zora's Domain, something here, like different, the variety. That's the greatest thing about Zelda Dungeons that I miss is the variety. So I don't think they're going to be all underground. I think they're going to be different places, and if they do it right, I mean, just think about how sick some of these dungeons could be. Just all I want you to think about.
If there are dungeons, they're like the shrines. So yeah, they're going to be sick.
They're not going to be like the shrines.
I
want you to think that's not a dungeon. That's a
very small, very small portion of a dungeon.
No. You got to think bigger. Get away from those thoughts because you're not going to see that again. I promise you this.
I don't think copy and paste. You mistaken me. I don't think copy and paste shrine.
Actually,
I think
you know what?
Elements of the mechanics in the atmosphere. What's it called?
Yeah. The mechanics and stuff. Yeah, the way that it works. But no, I will say this: you might see the way that looks. One time. There may be one dungeon that is based off of that stuff. Probably not, but maybe. But think about, here's what I want you to think about. Think about, you haven't, Wind Waker dungeons are cool. Twilight Princess dungeons.
I've played one Wind Waker dungeon. I'm working my way through it.
Listen, Twilight Princess dungeons are, oh my God, they're awesome. They're awesome. Yeah. They are great. They're so well put together.
I did one.
And they're all completely different. They all have a theme. They all, they kind of go off the same general feel, but here's what I'm saying. I want you to think about Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Think about what that was Give me 7 of those. Not as a castle, but 7 themed area dungeons that are that size, that big. That's what I want. I want 7 of those. Give me 7 of those.
Yeah.
Hell, I'll take 4 of them.
They're underground. Aren't they not underground? Aren't they most of them underground?
What?
The dungeons? They're going to be underground.
No. Some of them will. There's going to be a lot of underground
let's not.
stuff.
Yeah, okay, I'm also kind of forgetting some structures that are. Some could be on ground. Okay, some are going to be underground. Some are going to be on the ground, and some are going to be above ground in the sky. I think we can we? If there's dungeons, there's going to be all 3 places.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not going to. That's
and
what I'm saying.
The ones that are underground, especially, I just can't imagine we're not going to see like the dumb ball tricks involved in some of them. You need to get across some of the look at the wall and match the ground. Like that, we're not going to get Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild is really just a glorified fight zone.
Yeah,
there's nothing. It's just fighting.
Right. I'm saying take the puzzle elements of
yes. We're in agreement.
Of course. The puzzle elements, the puzzles in Zelda are what makes Zelda Zelda. Like, that's half the game is figuring out the puzzles and trying
the puzzles of the shrines are going to be incorporated into something like the castle, and that's going to make a dungeon. We're on the same page.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were talking about like just the aesthetic of the.
No.
I was gonna say like that would be a cool dungeon if you just had one big one.
No, the shrines are kind of boring on the aesthetically. I mean, there's nothing to them.
Well, actually, they weren't until you saw them 120 times. When you saw them 100, it was like, God bless America. Can you please just like make one pink, please? Just make it red. Can we make one red?
Yep. You're right.
They all looked identical. It's just like, man, come on,
pink, let's go.
But that's what I want. That's what I want the most. I want variety. If we're getting dungeons, I want variety. I want a lava dungeon. I want a water temple. I want to find stuff that is there in this map.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about that. Think about a water temple somewhere, like maybe Zara's Domains. I just go there because, water. Yeah. But, like, think about
a Zora's Domain style dungeon.
Just somewhere, like an entrance to this crazy, structure that's
it's going to be in a mountain face.
Yeah. Like, that would be so amazing. Lake Hylia, another one.
Your video that didn't do that well, that you made a while
place
back.
For a Zelda dungeon.
Yeah, one of your videos that your Breath of the Wild theory video.
Yeah, when I just made up places.
My favorite place you made up was the Gerudo Desert, where the big statues are.
The Arbiter's Grounds, because that's
my favorite place of theoretical dungeon.
But the Arbiter's Grounds is a dungeon in Twilight Princess.
Okay,
all that stuff sitting out there is a callback.
I'll play it eventually.
That.
Yeah,
I think it's underneath there. All the ground shakes. This giant structure appears. You got to go back in. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's like some of the same stuff in there, but you can see where it's like, there's been somebody in here. This door's open. Looks like
somebody's been in here.
I don't know. Like, it's probably not going to be like that, but I'm just saying, like, it would be really cool to have some of that. We see the callbacks, just the little Easter eggs, but like, bring them back. Like, do it. Like, let's see it.
Hashtag bring them back.
Bring back the roll. Bring back the roll.
At DripJeeb on Twitter. We haven't done this in a while. At DripJeeb on Twitter, guys. Go on your Twitter. Type in at DripJeeb. There'll be us, the DripJeeb podcast, and type hashtag bring them back. Hashtag TOTK. Can we get that from all you guys
who
use Twitter? Can we get you guys to get on our Twitter that I'm going to vow to use again starting tomorrow?
You won't.
I won't.
You might.
At DripJeeb, hashtag bring them back, hashtag TOTK. Can we get that going? That would be great. Bring the dungeons back. Put the candle back. If you know what that is, I love you. Drip, is there anything else? I mean, I have tons of stuff we did not even remotely talk about. Skyward Sword. Do you want to talk about old game connections? We can make it that its own segment to finish up. Old game connections to TOTK.
Okay.
You're down for that? We're going way over, but that's fine with me.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Bring the roll back. No. So
Yes, bring back
here's
the
one
roll.
that I don't know much about.
Bring
the
back
connections.
the roll. Link's roll. Bring it back.
The main two games that I want to talk about connections wise is Twilight Princess. I've heard so many people talk about that.
Yeah, there's some
and
stuff.
Skyward Sword. That's really all I'm interested
Skyward Sword's
in.
the big one. That's for me.
I think as well too, but there's not too much conversation going around Skyward Sword, which I think is crazy because, like we said a minute ago earlier in the podcast, Twilight they were pushed Skyward Sword so hard in 2021 and gave us the trailer in the same time frame, relatively. Like they want us to play Skyward Sword because it had something to do with the game. I'm pretty sure I talked about that in the podcast last year too.
Yeah, but I mean, people are talking about that. I mean, there's islands in the freaking sky.
I'm not in every single Zelda tuber world, so
I mean, people are talking about that. There's got to be some, because in the DLC, there is a part in the DLC where it shows the Master Sword like lighting up and blinking, but it makes that fi noise
for sure.
Like that's in Breath of the Wild.
It is. She's in the game, guys.
Clearly, that's for something. They're setting something up, and
foreshadowing.
There's more. There's more to that too. And we're kind of getting back into just Breath of the Wild, not the other games. But
it's fine. It's fine.
They made all this lore about the Zoni, like all this. It's not a ton, but if you go talk to certain people in that area, they talk about like, oh, this ancient whatever. And then you go, there's all these ruins, the big mazes, the labyrinth. Those are made by the Zoni. That's where you get the barbarian armor. They set all that up.
Hey, can I pause you real fast?
Didn't deliver a thing.
Can I pause you real fast?
Yeah,
we'll continue with it. Those of you who don't know the Zoni, some Zoni information.
Oh.
Uncle Geeb's gonna give you some Zoni information. The Zoni
went on the internet and found him some stuff today.
The Zoni are an ancient tribe that presumably resided in Hyrule before Hyrule was Hyrule.
Yes.
I don't understand my note. Warlike. I don't know what that means. I think the Zoni were people of barbaric
They were said to be
tendencies.
they were thought to be
the Zoni worshipped the Triforce before the Triforce was even considered the Triforce. They worshipped it as number one, a boar that represented power, an owl that represented wisdom,
and boar, real quick before you go any further, the boar and power, that part of the Triforce, Ganondorf, also very boar-like. Just
you're not wrong. And the dragon represents courage, which is important because the logo of the game has two dragons in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And courage is Link's part, and the wisdom is Zelda's part. I don't know if those animals tie into them in any way.
Yeah. That's about it. That's about it. Everything else in my notes we've kind of talked about throughout the episode. Let's talk about the dragons real fast. The dragons, the two dragons in the logo. Good theory by Alex from Nintendo Life. I kind of have to agree with him because it's just such a good theory, and I want it to be true. And I kind of mentioned it earlier in the episode. There's going to be two Links in this game. Now,
I don't know.
If you've noticed, guys, the looks of Link in the trailer, maybe you could take it as maybe some sloppy early trailer footage, or you could take it as these are two different Links. Two different Links. There's a Link that looks kind of disheveled, not disheveled, but his clothing's a little ripped. He looks a little dirty. His hair's wild. But you also have the Link when he's in the second trailer where he's pushing the boulder back up into space. He just looks like Breath of the Wild Link. They're very different looking Links. The same art style.
It is very different.
Very different. And there's two dragons, two courages. Link is the courage of the Triforce.
The hair is the thing. The hair is the thing. That I'm just like.
Hair? It looks like your hair, actually.
His hair is like when he's like all wild. It's like, I don't know. Like, could you put that up in that little ponytail? Is it the same or is it not? I don't know. I've been off and on of that train several times. It's not the same. It is the same. They are very, very different. It's really hard to sit here and say, no, it's hard to say that they're the same one, but at the same time, it's like
time manipulation, my friend. Time manipulation.
Well, I mean, that's literally bringing another Link into another time.
No, I think
okay, that's not
we
manipulation. Then we're going to be traveling in time if that's what it is.
The two links are connected in some way. They're in contact in some way. But we as a player going back in time or forward in time, but the characters themselves are staying in their time zone.
Oh my god! Yeah, what if they can like do things like but you go like Link to the Past, like you go to the Dark World, but when you go to the other Link's time, it's just like it's the same but different, and you're doing things there that affect
low rule
when you go
high
back.
Rule.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. Same thing as the Dark World and Link to the Past.
Okay.
But yeah, like you go there,
yeah.
and it's just like Ocarina of Time too. You go back in time, you do some stuff, then you go forward and you change things.
That's time manipulation because
that is time traveling.
Is it
literally traveling time? You go back in time. It's 7 years. Yes,
does he have the same memories? Is that Link as you try back and forth? Does he have the same memories?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did play some. Those of you who hate on me earlier about I need to play more games. I played a lot of them, just not when you guys did back in the day. I played them recently. But yeah,
that is time travel. It's the same dude. This would be some type of. They wouldn't really be traveling time. It would be like we are just going to that Link's time. They are just talking. They know
communication.
Yeah, like some type of communication through time or something. We are the ones that are actually just, we move to that link because we know we have to go do this. They are, telepathically whatever. There's probably some setup for it. That is a wild theory. I don't know if that's true or not. Probably not. But I mean, they do look very different. The hair is like I need to look at that. I need to look at the hair a little closer because it's really hard. But then again,
the hair. Also hashtag the hair. Let's get that in there.
Okay, but then listen to this. This is another thing where it's like, are they or aren't they? Because they both, you can see in the trailer, Link with his hair nice in the champion's tunic has the arm. Guy with his sloppy hair also has the arm. Did they both get it? So that's kind of weird.
Maybe because maybe the reason they're communicating in the first place is because both time periods. Both time periods, the issue is the arm. The issue is all the Zoni taking over Hyrule again from the dead with Ganondorf's help coming back from the dead with the help of Ganon, who always seems to be alive in some capacity.
I mean, there's going to be. I will say this 100%. Like this is going to be a good Zelda story.
This is game of the year.
I don't think there's any
Wins
way.
Game of the year.
Yes, it's going to be game of the year. Hands down.
If it doesn't win the game of the year, doesn't mean it was a bad game. But I think
don't care. No,
what it means is that Nintendo fucked up.
I don't care what comes out next year. I guarantee this will be game of the year.
Nintendo fucked up if they didn't win game of the year for this, or the voters are just so atrociously wrong.
Well, just think about this. Think about the Breath of the Wild trailers. Like.
That's something I wouldn't have too much experience with, honestly, because I played the game in 2020.
It looked like there was some story. I was like, okay, yeah, like we see this thing flying around the castle, but you kind of got the idea of it, and I was like, that was basically it. Like we kind of knew going in. There are so many mysteries here. Like all this, like we need so much context to fill all this in. Like this has. I mean, who knows? Maybe the story sucks, but I can tell you this. It's going to have a story. It's going to be an actual story. There's a lot of shit going on here.
Speaking of which, Drip, the memories in Breath of the Wild, that was kind of the substitute of a story. That was the story, but it, know, obviously we all know that was not the focus. The memories are exactly that. They're past memories, right? I feel like those gotta come, not the memory itself, but the contents of memories has to play a factor in this game. It is a sequel after all.
I doubt it. Honestly, I doubt we see memories. I think the whole memories thing is completely scrapped for a full real-time story.
I'm not saying there's going to be more added memories. I'm saying is and it's not going to be obvious when we play the game. It's going to be after we play the game or during we play the game, we're going to be like, wait a minute, wasn't this like... we're going to make connections to the memories in this game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Through the story of however they decided to deliver it.
I don't think the memories are going to be a big thing. I think this is going to be more of a game where we are seeing things from the past, but not anything. Link Link is fine now. He's got his memories. He knows his shit. He's got his stuff. He's fine now. I mean, the memories aren't going to be memories. It's going to be story told by
I agree with that.
Some old dude.
Impa.
This big rabbit, whatever this thing is. Whatever this thing is going to be telling story, I bet.
Rabbit. Oh my god.
It's got big ears, man. I don't know.
Before we go ahead.
I think this is going to be more a story about just real time, which is kind of like what I didn't like about Breath of the Wild, because they were so stuck on like, oh, you have to remember all this stuff to get the story about what's going. Like, I just did not like the way they set that up. And everyone's like, well, it's just so open. You kind of like, you don't have to do that. You can totally just have an NPC waiting to tell you something when you get there. A little bit of a push, like, hey, maybe that way. Like, maybe just for now, go check this out. Then you can go explore wherever you want later. But right now, if you want to continue the story, just head that way. Go over there.
Yeah.
Every other open world game does that. Like, I don't know why it was like a big thing. Like, oh, well, you can't because, like, no, totally could have. This game's, I think, going to do that. I think we're going to have probably some closed off areas too.
Before we kind of just wrap this up all together, hopefully we weren't too all over the place. I hope we kind of kept this at somewhat of an order just for content's sake. I want to finish up with Skyward Sword because I have thoughts of Skyward Sword.
Okay.
And the connections. First, though, Twilight Princess. In Twilight Princess, you had to collect Sacred Tears. That's not something I've done yet because I'm very beginning of Twilight Princess, but
that's
a thing.
What I said in the video. That's what it reminded me of. I couldn't think of what it was, and I was about to take my nap, and I hopped back in the disc. I was like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's the Tears of Light is what you have to collect, and it would take the Twilight areas away once you got them all.
Yeah. So let's take it back to Skyward Sword here. Skyward Sword, you had this sacred realm.
Right.
And if you recall, in the sacred realm, you had to go around avoiding mobs, collecting tears.
Yeah.
A lot of tears, not just 7, but a lot of tears.
No,
that
you
would
got
fill
more
up.
than 7. You got
tears
in.
If I misspoke, I'm sorry. Like a lot of tears.
Yeah, they had a bunch. It was like 20 or something like that. I don't know. It was more in the old
each
games.
realm.
In the HD remakes, they made it a little bit less because it was fucking ridiculous how many you had to get. But yeah, they actually lowered the number in the HD remake. But yeah, you did the same thing. I've only, like I said, I haven't finished all of Skyward Sword, but yeah, I've done a few of those.
And just the obvious nature, mentioning one more time, the obvious nature that, listen, they hyped Skyward Sword so much. Why'd they do that? Why did they have to release Skyward Sword HD, a game that didn't even have an HD port yet, where we talked about in the beginning of the podcast, we have 2 of them already ready to go. Why they have to go with Skyward Sword? I think it's because it has a lot to do with the story of Tears of the Kingdom. No shit, he's flying from the sky. I've said that already. It's just too obvious to me why that's the biggest influence on Tears of the Kingdom is going to be Skyward Sword. I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, how can you deny that?
They really made sure whenever they showed us Skyward Sword to like, hey, lots of stuff in Breath of the Wild is from this game.
Yes.
Like the cloth, and this, and we did that, and it was because of this game and that. Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that connects. I think this might be the first game where it really connects. I mean, really, really connects with stuff from another game. It's going to be cool. I'm really, really excited. Just can't come fast enough, man.
Drip, I think it's time to end this podcast. We're going to talk a little bit more, believe it or not. Talk a little bit more in the after show with you guys in the chat. So all your listeners, we're going to sign off for now. We appreciate you guys listening. Again, Drip and G Twitter at Drip Geeb, hashtag bring them back. Is that what it was? Bring them back?
I don't remember. That's
hashtag
on you.
bring them back. And then also hashtag TOTK. We appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Stream, stick around. We're going to be hanging out some more audio. We're signing off video, YouTube. We will catch you guys later.
Peace.